Hey everyone, I do apologize if you hear any vroom vroom sounds. Those are going to be like Facebook, email, text messaging, notifications, stuff like that. And I also apologize if you hear a big vroom, that would be my bank declining something, which I don't think I have to worry about just yet, but maybe next week. So just be on the lookout or the hear out, if you will, for that. And also apologize if I cough a little bit here. Got a bit of that. I've got a little bit of that tickle in the throat, because of allergies and stuff. But anyway, I wanted to come on here because, as you can see on the screen, yes, today it was released. The bowl season X account, Twitter account, if you will, released this. The bowl season Twitter X account, if you will, social media account. It is official. It is official by the NCAA and college football and all that. So they did. Today, like I said, release the schedule, as you can see. And we do now have a clue, or not a clue, but we pretty much have an better understanding of which bowl games towards the end of December and into January are going to be hosting certain playoff games going forward. But with that said, let's get on to what the bowl games are and how they are going to be played out throughout December and into January, if you will. First of all, we're going to start with December 13th. December 13th, which is going to be a Saturday, obviously, I think. Let me check the calendar. I have a calendar right here in front of me. So, just in case I mess up a little bit. And I think I grabbed two by accident here. I got two, so hold on. But yeah, let me look at this real quickly. December 13th. December 13th is a Saturday. And on that day, we have two bowl games kicking off the bowl season. We have the Cricket Celebration Bowl. That will be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ABC from Atlanta, Georgia. That is basically the national championship game for the black colleges, for the black colleges and all that. Basically, the HBC or HIBC, whatever it's called. I do apologize for saying that wrong. No offense there, guys. No offense. All due respect, no offense. But the HIBC, I think, or whatever it's called, it is their national championship. So, yeah, basically, that's going to be the first bowl game to kick off the bowl season, the Cricket Celebration Bowl. And then, following that, at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 a.m. Pacific, we will have the LA Bowl hosted by Rob Gronkowski. That's going to be, like I said, at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Celebration Bowl, like I said, that comes before that, will be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and that's going to be on ABC. Both games will be on the 13th of December, Saturday, December 13th, to kick off the bowl season. Now, you might say, wow, that's kind of early and everything. And that's true. It is kind of early. But you also have to realize that what this does is it also, like last year, coincides with a couple of other games taking place as well. One of those games, of course, I think around this time will be Army and Navy, because it's basically a week before Christmas. And lately, they like to try to get the game, Army and Navy, if you will, they like to try to get that game done with before the year is out. Not before the year is out, before the month of December is out, and they usually try to get it done around the second, if not, depending on schedule, the first Saturday in December, but mostly the second Saturday in December. But yeah, that's basically what you're going to get. And also around this time frame, I'm assuming, because I got to look at the openings here, I'm assuming, okay, those will be the only bowl games, because it doesn't look like they have anything on the 20th, which basically means, they have some bowl games on the 19th, and I'll get into that in a moment, but they don't have no bowl games on the 20th, so that right there, the 20th being opened up, you're going to see probably some NFL games that day, because that's typically when the NFL starts doing a lot more Saturday games, towards the end of their season. But you're also going to probably be seeing a lot of the first round games for the college football playoffs. So yeah, basically it looks like December 20th is going to be reserved, just like last year, will be reserved for the first round of the college football playoffs. That day, and December 19th as well. Just like last year, it'll be reserved for that, which is kind of weird because, I want to look at something here. Yeah, it's basically similar. Last year was the 20th and the 21st. This year will be the 19th and the 20th, from what I can assume. Because, again, there's nothing scheduled for Saturday, December 20th. But, yeah, like I said, the Celebration Bowl and the LA Bowl will be kicking it off on December 13th. And then 3 days later, on December 16th, which is a Tuesday, we have the Salute to Veterans Bowl. That's right, we have the Salute to Veterans Bowl. That is the IS4S or 1S4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That'll be on the 16th on ESPN. The next day, we've got two other games. We have the Cure Bowl. We have the Cure Bowl, if you will. That'll be at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. That'll be on ESPN. We also have, following that, on ESPN as well, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, we will have the 68 Ventures Bowl, the 68 Ventures Bowl. That'll be, like I said, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Also on the 17th of December, following the Cure Bowl, also on ESPN. And then they take a day off, which is a Thursday. I'm assuming because of Thursday Night Football. They're going to take that day off. And then on the 19th, we got two bowl games. And I'm assuming we will also have, just like last year, one first round game in the college football playoff that will take place on the 19th. So that's going to be really interesting to look into, if you will. But yeah, basically, we have a couple of bowl games, scheduled for the 19th to coincide as well with the first of the, I think, four first round games as well. So the bowl games that'll be shown around, not around, but on the same day, and most likely before the mostly before the first round game of the first round game of the college football playoffs. The two games will be the Gasparilla Bowl from Tampa, Florida. That'll be at, not the Gasparilla Bowl. Let me correct myself. The first bowl game on the 19th, it's going to coincide, or going to be airing on the same day as the first round game of this year's college football playoff. The first game will be the Myrtle Beach Bowl. That'll be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then following that, and that'll be on ESPN. And then following that, also on ESPN, you will have the Gasparilla Bowl, and that'll be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on December 19th. And again, basically the reason for those being scheduled as early as they are is because you will have a college football playoff game taking place that day as well, and that's going to be like the main event for December 19th, day of college football. So yeah, you got the Cure Bowl, not the Cure Bowl, but you got the Myrtle Beach Bowl at noon. At noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, ESPN. And then you have the Gasparilla Bowl at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific and that will be on ESPN as well. And like I said, the reason those are going on early is because of the first is because of the first of the 4 first round games of the college football playoff. So that's why they're scheduled that way, in case you're curious. And then on the 20th, nothing is scheduled, so we can assume that's when they're going to do the other 3 college football first round games. So basically, you get the first of the 4 on Friday, on December 19th, and then you get the other 3 on December 20th, along with some NFL games as well. So you're going to have quite the day of football, on December 20th. But yeah, basically you got the Myrtle Beach Bowl, the Gasparilla Bowl, and then those are going to be followed by the first of the 4 first round games on December 19th, and then December 20th. That's pretty much marked out because that day is going to be dedicated to the other 3 of the 4 college football first round games. So there you go. And then they start back up on a regular basis. On Monday, December 22nd at 2 o'clock Eastern, and that would be 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, with the and this is Monday, December 22nd, with the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That'll be on ESPN. That will be followed. Looks like they got it. Okay, that's the only game. Okay, that's the only game on Monday. So Monday you got one singular game. That's the Idaho Potato Bowl. And again, that's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And then the next day, you have the Boca Raton Bowl. I can't pronounce it. I do apologize, guys. The Boca Raton Bowl. That will be also at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And that'll be on ESPN. That will be followed by the New Orleans Bowl, which will be on at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. And then that will be followed by the Frisco Bowl at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And those 3 games are on the 23rd of December. And then on Christmas Eve, you have the Hawaii Bowl. That will be on that'll be on ESPN at either, and this is what gets interesting. They haven't chosen the time here yet, but it's either going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, which would be 5 p.m. Pacific, or 9 p.m. Eastern, which would be 6 Pacific. All depends on the time, but that will be on Christmas Eve, on December 24th. And then, following Christmas, you have 3 bowl games. You have to start off the day after Christmas at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. You have the Sports Bowl, formerly the Motor City Bowl, the Detroit Bowl, whatever you want to call it. You have the Sports Bowl on December 26th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. That will be followed by the Rate Bowl, formerly the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, but by the Rate Bowl, that'll be on at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and if I'm calculating right, that'll be about 1:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Then, following that, to close out the day after Christmas, you have the First Responder Bowl. That'll be on at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on December 26th, also on ESPN. Then on December 27th, which is a Saturday, you will have at 11 a.m. Eastern, which 10, 9, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, you will have the Military Bowl. That'll be on ESPN. Then an hour later at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ABC, you will have the Pinstripe Bowl. And then at 2:15 p.m., at 2:15 p.m., guys, 11:15 a.m. Pacific, on ESPN, you will have the Fenway Bowl. Then following that on ABC at 3:30 p.m., 3:30 to 1, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, you have the Pop Tarts Bowl on ABC. And then, basically an hour after that, you will have the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl on the CW network. That'll be on at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. And then you will have at 5:45 p.m. Eastern, 2:45 Pacific, you will have the New Mexico Bowl. Then on ABC, you will have on December 27th at 7:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. On ABC, you will have the Gator Bowl. And then to close out that whole day of bowl games, guys, to close it out, you will have the Texas Bowl at 9:15 p.m., 6:15 p.m. Pacific, 9:15 p.m. Eastern, 6:15 Pacific on ESPN. So that's a whole day's worth of bowl games on ESPN. But I'm assuming they schedule it this way and will continue to schedule it this way due to the fact that, well, basically, they got to give up an extra day, and they got to give up the previous Saturday for the first round in the college football playoff. So, yeah, December 27th, you're going to have, let me count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bowl games. 8 bowl games on the 27th. So again, in my opinion, they're doing this to make up for the fact that they had to give up the previous Saturday, December 20th, for the first round games. And then on Monday, December 29th, and this is the only game on Monday, December 29th, you have the Birmingham Bowl. That will be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on December 29th on ESPN. Then the next day, we got about 3, we got 1, 2, 3, we got like 3 bowl games on December 30th. So starting it off at, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on December 30th, you have the Independence Bowl. Following that at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, you have the Music City Bowl. And then close out that day, you have the Alamo Bowl at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then on New Year's Eve, you have, to kick us off, at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, you have the Weathercrest Bowl. And then that's followed on CBS, about 2 hours later on CBS, that's followed by the Sun Bowl. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And then an hour later, the Citrus Bowl follows that on ABC. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And then that's followed a half hour later on ESPN by the Las Vegas Bowl, which is the latest that's ever been. And that'll be at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Oh, not 3, okay, let me correct myself. The Las Vegas Bowl, like I say, follows the Citrus Bowl a half hour later. And that's going to be on at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and 12:30 p.m. Pacific. There we go. Sorry, I almost fumbled there, if you will. And then that is followed by the first, of the quarterfinal games in the college football playoff, which is the Cotton Bowl. And that'll be on at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So the Cotton Bowl is going to kick off the quarterfinals on New Year's Eve, just like the first of the 4 first round games kicks off on December 19th. or at least closes that day out of, college football. The same with the first quarterfinal game at the Cotton Bowl, which is, again, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, and that will be on ESPN. And then New Year's Day, it's all quarterfinals. The Orange Bowl, probably the earliest the Orange Bowl I think has ever been, will be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's right. The Orange Bowl will, for the first time that I know of, is going to be an early morning, early afternoon game. So that's kind of cool. I'm assuming it's because Miami, the Dolphins, probably have a home game the next day. I'm not really sure. I have to check. And then that followed at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, by the Rose Bowl. And then we close out the quarterfinal games on New Year's Day with the Sugar Bowl at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and those are all on ESPN. But yeah, the Orange Bowl, probably the earliest I've ever seen the Orange Bowl get scheduled. Even pre-college football, pre-BS, what I'm trying to say is, I think this is the earliest I've seen the Orange Bowl get scheduled, even pre-college football playoff, pre-BCS, and so on. So that's probably the earliest I've ever seen it scheduled. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if you want to. And that's a Thursday. New Year's Day will be a Thursday. And then on Friday, January 2nd, we will kick off a trio of college football bowl games. We will have the Armed Forces Bowl. That will be at 1 p.m. Eastern, which will be 10 a.m. Pacific. That's the Armed Forces Bowl. That will be followed by the Liberty Bowl at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. And then they close out the January 2nd day of bowl games with the Duke's Mayo Bowl at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Now, they don't have a date or time schedule for the Holiday Bowl, but usually that falls around the day before New Year's Eve, if not 2 days before it. So if I was to make a guess, I'm going to go with potentially maybe December 30th. So I'm going to go with that. If they decide to go January 2nd, that would be the latest the Holiday Bowl's ever gone. And it'd be the first time the Holiday Bowl's ever been taking place at the beginning of a new year. Basically substantially making it a New Year's Day game or a New Year's game, if you will. But I'm going to go more than likely with December 29th as the date, which would be a Monday as well. I think it could be December 30th as well, because I don't know if they're going to have Monday Night Football that night. But I'm going to go with either the 29th or the 30th for the Holiday Bowl. But yeah, they have it scheduled to be on Fox as well. And then we get into the semifinal games on January 8th, which will be also on a Thursday, believe it or not. And that's the Fiesta Bowl at 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. That's the first semifinal game. And then the other semifinal game is the Peach Bowl, which will be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And then, of course, we close out the whole season of college football, if you will, with the national championship, which is on the 19th, which, if I'm looking here correctly, will be a Monday. And that will be on at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. And that will be on ESPN, and that will be from basically the same place as the Orange Bowl will be as well, which is Miami Gardens and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much going to close out the regular season, the overall regular and bowl season of college football for this year. And then, of course, if you're interested, that gets followed up by the East and West Shrine Bowl, which will be, network-wise, it'll be determined, but that will be on. That'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on January 27th. Again, no network has been assigned yet, but we can assume it's either going to be the NFL Network or ESPN. And then the Reese's Senior Bowl will be on January 31st at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, and that'll be on the NFL Network. But yeah, guys, that is basically your list, and you'll see it on the screen there, your list of all the college football bowl games, that will be happening this year, when they're going to take place. And like I said, probably the biggest one that surprises me is the early time frame for the Orange Bowl. Yeah. And the only reason I think it's early is mainly because of the fact, that this to me, has to do with two things. Either they need to get the Miami Gardens ready for the national championship, which is basically going to take place literally a little over 2 weeks later, or mainly they have a Miami Dolphins home game the next day. Anybody that, is a Miami Dolphins fan, let me know in the comments if that is true or not, because if it is, that would explain the early time frame, because usually they try to get the Orange Bowl out, or not out, but they try to schedule it later on in the evening, late afternoon, evening, because that's when it's been most associated with. But to me, I can only assume that it has to do with the Miami Dolphins having a home game the next day. But anyway, though, guys, that's pretty much it for the schedule for the 2025-2026 bowl season. Let me know what your thoughts are overall in the comment section. Love to hear from each and every one of you on this. Which of the bowl games are you looking forward to, if you are at all? If you're looking forward to any of them at all? What are your thoughts on the Orange Bowl being scheduled early on New Year's Day? What are your thoughts on that? Also, guys, what are your thoughts overall on the placement date-wise for all these bowl games and everything? How do you feel about it? And do you think I am right? I am on the ball, if you will, when it comes to the fact that the reason December 20th doesn't have no bowl games is because they're dedicating that day to all the college football first-round games, with the exception of the first of the first four that would close out December 19th. Let me know, guys. Love to hear from each and every one of you. And until then, do me a favor, guys. Like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Also, click on the links in the description and find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. It would be greatly appreciated if you could help me out there. And until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later. But until then, I am out. Y'all have a good day.